Hello and welcome to Drive and Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan.
Ryan.
And this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into this week's movie, I want to talk to you about our Patreon. If you head over to patreon.com/Drive and Double Feature Podcast, we got fun games, fun conversations, whole bunch of great stuff over there just for $5 a month. You help support us and you get fun stuff. But getting into today's movie, we are back at it again with Saw. This is our seventh time talking about Saw. Can you believe that?
No, I
No,
can't
it's the
because it's
eighth.
actually our eighth.
It's our eighth time. Oh my God, even crazier. Even crazier. Yeah. I feel like I forget that because Saw 7 isn't Saw 7. It's like the final chapter or 3D. But yeah, Jigsaw is the eighth Saw movie, which is crazy. If you remember right, Saw 3D came out in 2010, and there's this huge gap, 7-year gap between movies. So
How did people live without having that in their
I
life for
know
70?
it is crazy to think that
I,
like there was a time when the world was just for 7 years, like 7 years in a row, they just saw was normal. Like that was the catchphrase. It's Halloween, so it must be Saw. That's yeah. I mean that's
and
that.
they were just like that seventh movie. That was it. There's never gonna be another one ever again.
Yeah, well, I think it was just so bad that they couldn't go back. I mean, they called it the final chapter. They were ready to end it, but God, they ended it so poorly. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I don't know how much people wanted a new one. Well, I can tell you, this movie cost 10 million and made 104 million. So people must have really wanted another Saw. Maybe just like a little bit of nostalgia was building up and everything. I mean, Saw has a very dedicated fan base. And I remember I was excited for this one. And I saw it in the theater. I was there when it came out. What about you, Ryan? Did you see Jigsaw?
No, I didn't.
Mm.
I remember it came out and then it left, and it was just out of my mind.
Yeah, yeah. It was like it didn't even exist, right? And it was made by
I just remember Jigsaw and that crusty clown makeup on his face or
oh, the
whatever.
poster. Yeah, where it's like all
Yeah.
like it's like off. Because like that's a big thing like with Saw is like how do you do a Saw that takes place way in the future because it is set later. I'll say in quotation, it's set later. We'll reveal that later in the podcast. But how do you do that? And it's like, oh well, you got to have Tobin Bell in a Saw movie, even though he's been dead for so long. So you put him on the poster and everything, and trust me, they figure that one out. But yeah, this one's directed by a new people. Two people who haven't directed before, the Spierig brothers who've actually made a couple good movies. They made Daybreakers, which is the Ethan Hawke vampire movie, which was actually pretty decent. I remember liking that one. And then Predestination, I never saw, but I heard was good. So that's another Ethan Hawke movie. I guess they're buddies.
Well, why wasn't Ethan Hawke in this one?
Ethan Hawke and Saw. Do you think he would have done it? I mean, he's Black Phone, right? Ooh, Ethan Hawke
Yeah,
as Jigsaw.
yeah. Well, he could have been like the male nurse or whatever.
The male nerd. Oh, he could have been.
The
Oh my God, he would have been
the
so
the
much
the the,
better.
me- the medical examiner or whatever he was in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. No, I would have much preferred that. And I mean, like, it's the same deal, man, where you have a $10 million budget. Where the hell are you getting these actors? My God, they're worse than usual. I will take Jill
I,
over some of these people.
so many people in this movie were just bad, and
Just
it's just
horrible.
like, and I'm like, yeah, of course, I mean, it's no spoiler. Tobin Bell is the only returning actor,
Yes.
and so we don't get anybody before. I mean, I know everyone's dead at this point, except we don't even get Carrie Elwes at all. I mean,
Yeah, isn't that what's crazy? His final chapter almost sets up like that there's a bigger conspiracy under all of this. That Jigsaw has a bunch of people behind him and they're going to carry on his legacy. And that's kind of thrown away. There's a Jigsaw fan base, but it's not like actual Jigsaw killers doing anything. So like
so
that thing's gone.
so do you think like after Carrie Elwes, like Dr. Gordon kills Hoffman, he was just like, like just like dust up his hands, like my work here is done. I'm retired.
Is that what maybe they were like, we finished Jigsaw's plan and we're gonna call it a day? That could have been it.
Everyone in the world is good now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody in the world has deserved, like, has chosen
I,
life.
everybody deserves to live.
Yeah. And you know what? I agree, Carrie. But no, it's like, I don't know. It's just like such a like, it kind of gets rid of the finalness, which I get it. It's a sequel, but maybe you want a big jigsaw ring or something. But no, the way this movie opens is with with well, actually, how does this one open? What is the opening trap of this movie? It's not the four people, right? Oh no, it doesn't open with a trap. That's right. It opens with a cop. Uh Detective Brad Halloran, right? That's his name. Uh
Yeah.
yeah, the cop. And there's a guy with a bomb with a trigger, and he's holding, and he's like,
Right, right,
yeah,
right.
remember? Yeah, and he's like, "Oh my God, everybody's gonna die if I, or no, I'm gonna die if I don't pull this right now." And Halloran's like, "Okay, everybody, shoot the trigger," and then they do shoot the trigger. Everything still starts with the trap, and then he's shot in the chest, right? So somebody in there is, oh, what's going on? Somebody actually didn't follow orders and shot the guy in the chest. And that's how this whole trap system gets started. And it's really questionable, right? Because what happens is there's a whole trap going on, and then someone dies, right? And then the body is found. So like when we see somebody die in the trap, their body is found. And the timing on that, it makes sense at the end of the movie, but when you're watching it, I don't know about you, but it was like, oh, how does this timing work?
Well, like,
Right?
because uh, so like in the context of the movie, I mean, it's so like as soon as this guy dies, there's like it's like Jigsaw like running in there and just like snatching up the body and like, oh shit, I gotta go drop this body off because it's just
Yeah, it's so bad because it may already makes you feel like something's going on, or the movie's just like bad and not thinking about it. Because yeah, that's why it's like, I gotta rush and hang him from the bridge, right? And then he runs back to make sure everything's fine with the trap. Because this trap system is so interactive, right? It's not like any other one from the past movies where there's like screen. Jigsaw doesn't have to be overwatching anything. It just kind of just all, there's usually someone overwatching, but they never really interact. Here, Jigsaw almost has to directly talk to everybody because it's such a free for all at one point when they're in the barn and the dude gets his leg trapped, and it seems like, oh yeah, I gotta hop on the mic and say his name, unless he really is that good at predicting, which of course we've already talked about that a billion times before.
it's uh, omnipresent. Jigsaw is back in this movie,
Yes, yeah,
and
he knows
it it
everything.
it's very like. And the other thing too, like in the in this opening trap, because it's four people, they're chained to this door,
Hmm.
and they have these buckets on their heads, and they basically what they have to do is they have these saw blades just spinning,
Hmm.
and they have to cut themselves intentionally in
Yep.
order to be released. And what we don't know is just they don't Jigsaw doesn't tell, like it's not clear in these rules at all, by the way, in this movie. Like in the other movies, it's very clear. It's like, hey, there's a key in this guy's stomach. You need to
Yeah.
rip it out and take the bear trap off your face.
Hmm.
But in this one, they're just like, huh? What? Huh? Like,
Yeah,
uh,
well, because he's
uh,
so cryptic. He's like, it's like you got to shed some blood, or like stuff like that, and it's just like, oh my God, yeah, like
it,
that's like not only do they have to defend their life, they also have to figure out some clues. They have to do like not a scavenger hunt, but a riddle as well.
uh, and also too, like, another dumb part from that one is so like everyone else, like because it starts out as five people,
Yes.
and two of the people they just stick like their forearm out and they're just like, ooh, ah, like, like get
Uh-huh.
cut. But there's like one guy you notice he like, let me just like put my finger up against it. And he's super like I'm like, dude, it's gonna cut off your finger. What are you doing? Like,
He's kind of lucky too because it like he gets hit right and then he goes into the saw, so he's almost lucky he didn't get
yeah,
his finger chopped off.
yeah, he's super lucky.
Yeah, but also there's a guy who doesn't wake up in time in there. That's like the whole thing is like he gets everybody that's awake survives, but there's one guy who gets caught in the saws because he wakes up way too late. Um,
Mhm.
so as that's going on, every new body pops up, and then that's where the cop storyline is. There's Detective Halloran, another cop with him, I think Keith or something Hunt, Keith Hunt, yes. And then two what do you call that? Uh
Like crime scene investigators,
yeah,
right? They're like
yeah.
CSI Pete
Yeah,
or
because
coroners, kind of.
yeah, coroners, yeah, they're checking the bodies, right? And that's a whole thing in itself. Like the traps is one thing I can handle, but there's something about the like I've already harped on this. I will keep harping on it. The performances in these sections are just really bad because they have to investigate the bodies and like I I actually don't understand why Detective Halloran is instantly like it's the coroners. Like he's so into the coroners being the bad guys, even though there's seriously no reason to ever suspect them.
Well, I mean, there is one girl, which
Yeah.
like, but the thing with that whole thing was, it's like, that's supposed to, I like, you almost think they're kind of setting her because it's the main dude and his partner, who's a female.
Uh-huh.
And I thought they were going to set her up as like some type of red herring or something like that, where it's going to be like people think that she's the killer.
Yeah.
And because when you walk into her like apartment, she has like a jigsaw museum that she set up. Like she
Yeah.
has like all the traps from all the movies, like they're all replicas, and she's just like, yeah, it's a hobby, that's just
Eh,
something I'm interested in. It's
uh-huh.
like,
Yeah, it's just my hobby. And yeah, exactly. And like that's where it's revealed that there's this big trap that's like a big circular saw trap. She's like, I heard that this is a schematic from Jigsaw's first ever trap that nobody knows about, the secret first trap that happened. And then the other guy's like, that didn't exist. I don't know where you got that from. So she's so obsessed with Saw that she had a trap built for her. That's horrible.
just yeah, just imagine if somebody was obsessed, which there are people that are obsessed with serial killers,
Yeah.
but just the thought of it is still horrifying. Like they just have like, it's like, oh yeah, like here's how like the weapons they use, like replicas of it, and here's like I set up a wax figure of the one of the dead bodies and how they left it dismembered. Isn't this cool? And they're like, oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna get
no,
out of here.
yeah.
I'm out of here.
But but the point is they set her up to do like be kind of a weirdo, but it goes absolutely nowhere
Oh
at all.
yeah. No, it's because you never assume. It's way too obvious, right? Like that'd be so obvious and they would never go with like something that obvious. So it's like
It's incredible. It would have been incredibly obvious. It would have been stupid if they would have followed that thread. But why even introduce that in there? It's just like, okay, she's a weirdo. You're like, okay, and then she's almost just like out of the movie at that point.
exactly. Yeah. Um so I don't know. It's so like I'm glad you brought that up because it is just very pointless. The character just feels pointless. It would have worked better maybe if they were a team because reveal they wait
Uh-huh.
till way late. The actual guy behind it all is the CSI guy. It would have been better if they were a team and they were going to trap Halloran together, but he made her like the scapegoat, like, oh, she's my alibi. She will make sure that you look like the Jigsaw killer. Because that's the movie's pretty much a battle between both of them back and forth because the other cop kind of gets dragged between thinking it's the CSI guy, then the detective guy. He also thinks it's the lady, he gets tossed all around. But I would say the mystery in this is not particularly good, especially against, I don't know, the traps in this one, or the trap setup is just kind of, it's kind of weak. It reminds me a bit of Saw 5, where it almost feels like inconsequential in some ways, or in some ways it almost makes no sense. So there's a trap where they're in a grain silo where the grain keeps filling up, and then at one point they're trapped, stuck in the grain, and then out down the chutes comes knives and blades, which, like, hear me out. These people, they, how are they being tested in that moment? They are stuck there, and if they get stabbed in the head with a knife, what was the lesson? Like, there's
Well,
no
yeah,
lesson there.
and it's all depending on the the douchebag character because they always had to have
Oh,
like one, like one
yeah.
jerk in every setup. So it's all depending on him to like, okay, is he gonna sacrifice his leg in order to free them? But I thought that was one of the dumbest traps in this whole franchise. It was
I agree.
just, it's just like they're stuck in grain and they're just sharp objects are being thrown at them. They're like, ah.
Yeah, no, it's just so, like, poorly done, and just like, it's like really plotted so bad too, because the guy, like, flips off the camera, I'm not, fuck you, I'm not gonna do it. It's just like, I don't
Well,
know.
well, so again, like just omnipresent Jigsaw. Like even before that, after the saw blades in the room, it's like they're being dragged into these like by chains on their neck to like these grinders. They're like, oh
Mhm.
no, we got to get out. And a little uh what's it, Billy, the little
Oh, the
clown
puppet,
doll,
yeah. Yeah.
like he shows up and they don't say play like it just like one of the guys notices at the last minute that he has a tape recorder that says play me, and I'm like, what if he didn't see that?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right?
No, I agree. There's
Because
that.
it's not a big sign. It's just like a little like note that's like pinned to his chest.
I do you think that, I don't think they're smart enough to do this, but do you think they were setting up that this was Jigsaw's first trap because it was, according to this plot line, and maybe he was that bad at making traps? See, that's the thing, is Saw 1 makes sense for this franchise as the first one because of the simplicity of it. Literally, it's two dudes in the bathroom just chained up to a pipe. Okay, yeah, that's like a first trap, and then he gets gradually crazier and crazier.
Right. Well, I mean, like the other one was I I do kind of admire the simplicity of a lot of the traps from the first movie. It's just
Yeah.
like the other one was just like it's a guy in a cage full of barbed wire. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And now it's like so complicated, but like, they can't figure out a smart way to do it. Cause like you said, the silo trap's stupid, or the one where they're
Or
getting, like they're hanging. Oh, go ahead.
oh no, like I was gonna say, going back to the silo trap, that
Yeah.
trap is all dependent on that guy steps
Yeah.
on this one board too, because he says like you gotta follow by the rules, and this guy's like, I'm not doing that, and just steps on the wood, and he falls through and he gets his leg caught in these uh cables that end up
Hmm.
ripping his leg off. But I'm just saying, like, if they didn't do that, they would have never gotten caught in the silo and all. So
Hmm. Exactly. And like, it's like you said, he's just omnipresent, and this thing has to happen, and then this thing, and it has to be by, like, what if somebody else stepped on that? Like, he could have not, like, I don't know. Or if only one person went in the silo. Not both. Well, I guess they set it up where one of them had to be lifted. But what if one of them was high, could jump high enough and just got it or something? Um, Man, the traps in this one are
what
just bad.
what is a veg? Do you think they could have just stayed in? Like, what if he just? How many blades and stuff do you think are in that grain silo? Do you think at a certain point, just like, oh, he ran out of sharp things?
This is all I had in my garage and in my kitchen. I got nothing else to work with. You guys are just stuck in there. You're absolutely. He would have to, like, go to the store, leave them in the grain silo, and then pile some more in there.
Throw, I'll be back in 40 minutes. And just throws them
Uh,
in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so dumb. Not only that, there's the one where like they're hanging and the girl has to inject a needle with like a antivirus in it, and it's like, oh, one of these numbers is going to mean something to you, and one of them says 343. She's like, oh, $3.43, that's how much I stole for a purse and a woman died because of that. She pretty much gets that all out. She says 343, that's how much a life is worth. Everyone can hear it, but nobody thinks of like, okay, yeah, inject her with that needle, that obviously is the correct number.
I didn't understand that either. Why didn't she just take it and just be like, "That's it, that's the one"? And
Yeah.
but instead, the douchebag guy ends up stabbing her with all the needles,
Yeah, so
and
they
so,
die, or she dies.
hmm
Um, yeah, and then there's the dirt bike one, which is really terrible, where it's like this big circular saw, and he has to reach down into the middle, but there's a motorbike on top that's running, and they make it like a big action set piece, which is really stupid in Saw, where she's like jumping, doing parkour to get to the top of this, and sticking a rebar in there just terrible, and it looks bad. This one's full of CG, like there's CG blood, and it's just rough.
and
Yeah.
and like you said, as this is going on, after each person dies in the movie,
Hmm.
the coroners end up finding the bodies, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, like you see, like this, her whole body was, uh, her face was eaten off by acid," and like, "Oh my
Hmm.
gosh," and or like, "Oh, hey, this guy was like massacred, like his whole body was just ripped to shreds from the
Hmm.
circular saw." So we that's kind of all happening at the same point, which I mean, like, I guess us as a viewer, we're led to believe, this is supposed to be like over days that they're finding these bodies because it
Yeah.
does, day and night does happen.
Hmm.
And so I guess we're led to believe, like, you're like, okay, well, this trap obviously happened in the past.
Hmm.
So, but it's probably been like a couple of days or something like that.
Yeah, we're not really supposed to believe what the actual twist is. Because Jigsaw does show up. He does do a bit where he gives them a gun. The two surviving people have a gun, and pretty much they both get screwed. They both die. That's like the big thing at the end of the movie. It's really stupid. But the twist, the big twist, is
Well,
that.
before you do
Oh, go
that,
ahead. Oh,
before
okay.
you do that,
All right.
so the main girl in this movie, because they all end up doing terrible things.
Yeah.
Like the one guy with the motorcycle, he ends up selling somebody like a bad motorcycle that he knew for a
Hmm.
fact was bad, and um, the other guy was just a really awful person, and like,
Hmm.
I forget exactly what he did, but he did a lot of bad things.
Oh yeah, he got in a drunk driving accident, right? And then
Oh,
like
right, it was
and he
when he
blamed
was
it
young.
on someone else.
He blamed it on the driver. Yeah.
Which where's he getting this
Uh,
info from, by the way?
so that's what I wanted to get into. Like, how did he know that that guy lied? And two, he was like, "Oh, it's I forget her name, but he's like, oh yes, we were neighbors,"
So
and
bad.
like, and and at that point, he's like, because her whole bit was like, "Oh, like my husband ended up rolling over in his sleep and killing our baby, and he
Hmm.
went crazy afterwards." Uh, but it turned out she had smothered the baby in the baby's sleep and blamed it on her husband.
Yeah.
And but here's the thing, Jigsaw was not present at any of those moments. He heard the baby crying, and then all of a sudden the baby stopped crying.
Well, and Annie heard
And he was just
his
like,
mom say, "Shut up, stop crying." That he did
right,
hear that. Not, but he didn't hear, "I'm gonna kill you, baby, and blame it on my
right. And so
husband."
he's making a wild assumption.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. It is an
And
absolutely just
I mean,
bizarre.
like, that would not be solid enough proof to be like, oh, I she probably killed that baby. Like,
Yeah. But obviously he's in the wrong, choosing the wrong things because as we come to find out, this is in the past. This is all in the past. This is actually his first ever saw trap. And what we're seeing is a completely different timeline. And the first guy that is supposedly died at the beginning, but Jigsaw saves him, was the doctor that swapped out the brain tumor. So he didn't get the brain tumor caught quickly, which that is so against Jigsaw's rules.
I I hated that it's so
Me too.
much
Me too.
because Jigsaw has a very clear philosophy, of
Hmm.
people that are not that don't value life and or somebody that's done like some terrible things to awful people and they're
Hmm.
basically getting payback for that. This guy is like because the coroner or whatever, the CSI guy, he just worked in the radiology. He was just a radiologist, and he
Hmm.
got the forms mixed up. And Jigsaw's like, he should die for that.
Right? And I think that's messed up. I mean, he realizes that way too late. The guy almost dies, and that's when he goes, I will never do this for revenge. You can't do it for revenge.
Well, yeah, because he even said like the main guy, because it's revealed that the coroner, he was the student of Jigsaw or whatever, and
Uh,
he's like, he even says like, yeah, Jigsaw realized halfway through that I shouldn't be murdered for a simple mistake.
yes, yes. I hate that because, like you said, Jigsaw has a very clear philosophy, and that's all these movies is kind of like his thought process, and like that's just thrown out the damn door with that, like that he would even think to do that.
And he says, don't do it for revenge. But there's lots of people that betrayed literally the insurance guy who that was pure revenge.
No, 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 no. He was a bad guy. He wasn't good. No,
He
these are
was a
all
bad
revenge.
guy, but that's all revenge.
It is
He
all
wronged.
revenge.
Yeah. So
Um, but yeah, that's like the reveal at the end, and then he's carrying out Jigsaw's plan again because Halloran, uh, killed his wife, and he wants to put all the blame on him. So he puts him in a trap, but forces him to lose, so he will die no matter what, even if he doesn't win the game. Which is once again like, okay, you're caring for Jigsaw's philosophy without actually caring for the philosophy.
and what's revealed though, which is another thing I did not like, is the big twist of the movie is that um the coroner he is recreating Jigsaw's first stunt. So all those dead bodies that were in the throughout the movie, those were not the dead bodies of the people
Yep.
in the trap. So
Yeah.
it was like he got identical bodies that had the
Hmm.
same build, same look, because the other girl still was like a blonde girl, like the one that took
Yeah.
the acid.
Hmm.
And saying they're like, can you imagine? Like he's like, okay, I need to find some people that did wrong in their life. They need to look exactly like these people
Uh-huh.
that were there that same day,
So-
and they have to all be the same race, body build, hairstyles,
and they all
and
gotta die the same order.
they all have to die the same way. And I have to predict that they're all going to make these same mistakes that these other people are.
Terrible. That is so, yeah, no, I agree. I think the fact that he recreated it, it's almost kind of it's just it's too convoluted and it makes no damn sense. Do you think that lady that died for 343 also died for 343, like, or whatever the hell it was?
Uh, oh
They
my
had to
God, it was 263.
Oh my God. Yeah, so I
Good.
don't know. No, I think like the more I thought about this one, the less I liked it because I enjoyed it when I saw it in the theater. And I think that's just because maybe I was just happy to see a Saw movie. I was just like, oh yeah, okay, Saw, cool, I'm happy with that. But now that I've seen it again, I haven't seen it since the theater. I'm like, oh no, this one's bad. I don't think it's final chapter bad, but it's not good either. It's still not good.
Yeah, I don't. Final chapter, I think, was so far gone from Saw because
Yeah.
it's just because then it just became Hoffman just like stabbing people randomly
Yeah.
in a police station. I think that really what didn't feel like a Saw movie at that point. This
Hmm.
one, they're trying to be, but I think the execution's very poor. I don't agree with the philosophy of this movie
Hmm.
at all. And like I said, it's very much, Jigsaw is omnipresent again, where he's just able to predict every single movement, how it's going to play out, and then having to recreate all these traps. And to me, it's like they've already done this gimmick of
Hmm.
we're going to recreate traps. This is like this is actually a flashback and not
Hmm.
the actual timeline. They've done this type of thing before already,
Yep.
and to me, it's very. I'm just kind of like, I mean, I'm sure maybe if it had been 7 years since the last time like a Saw movie came out, maybe it wouldn't have been as fresh in my mind. But because we've watched these movies like that, it's been kind of like,
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of like watching it back to back, you start to realize just how like far off it is. Just wait, the next one isn't even like really a Saw movie. It's from the book of Saw. So that'll show you where we go
based
next.
on the novel Push by Sapphire, correct?
Yeah, yes, exactly. That is what we're watching. But I do think that wraps it up on Jigsaw. I don't think either of us recommend this one.
No, it's definitely one of the lesser ones.
Yeah. But Ryan, remind us what we're covering on Thursday.
Well, Nathan, we are going to be covering the final Heisei Godzilla movie with Godzilla versus Des Desodroya, and that is streaming on Tubi right now.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to watch that one. And if you want to send us an email, email us at drivein doubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. You can also check us out anywhere you get podcasts and the Patreon. But until next time.
Until next time.